This is the concierge, sir.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Concierge Confidential. I'm your host, Brian Ortega, and in today's episode, we are having an emergency podcast. So, in this episode, we are actually going to be talking about why Las Vegas in particular, and specifically the Strip, you tend to see a lot of the same type of restaurants or businesses or nightclubs pop up all at the same time. It's not really an accident because this city is all about copying each other, and it just tends to work itself out that way. But we do have to talk about some recent news that just happened like today, and how I feel about it, because it's what matters. Also, I do have to talk about some people who actually messaged into the pod. Really appreciate that, by the way, and we'll talk about that, for a little bit. And so we'll get to some of the news, and then also why we have so many of the same restaurants popping up at the same time. That's coming up next on Concierge Confidential. Okay, guys, so we went ahead and went old school today. No video for this particular podcast, just because I thought about it, through today. And yeah, let's get to the news. So the big news is that one of my favorites, Mayfair Supper Club at the Bellagio, is, they say, reimagining their entertainment for Mayfair Supper Club, which means that the kind of cornerstone of Mayfair Supper Club, which is their live entertainment, will be no longer, starting on December 12th. That will be their last date. And they say that they're going to have like this new sort of like vision for the entertainment part of it. Also, there was news that they said they were closing Mayfair Supper Club, and that was said on the Las Vegas Review-Journal. It was corrected. And then, of course, our favorite person, which we'll call her out now, Vegas Starfish. So annoying. Probably one of the most annoying Vegas influencers out there. There's a lot of them. Vegas Pauly C, he's a piece of shit. If you like those people, that's fine. But I don't know. Those people just really rubbed me the wrong way, and it's never nice to like call out other like creators, but they suck. They really do. So, anyways, with that being said, and if you are one of those people listening, cool. Take it as I mean it. And she went ahead and said, "Oh yeah, like they're closed," and this whole thing, and then didn't want to retract it because the way that it works in social media is that if you take down a post that was making, getting a lot of views, then you have to take it down, redo it, resubmit it, and it starts all over. So you don't get the views for that video. So it's a whole like financial thing. So she left it up, and everyone had to talk about it. And then of course she loves to call out the Review-Journal for reporting it wrong the first time. But with that all being said, back to the point, Mayfair Supper Club will not have its current iteration of the live entertainment. And then, kind of worse is that there's about 30 or so entertainers and musicians that will be let go because of that. So that really sucks. So they're changing the production company. And again, that really does suck just because I did end up following a lot of them because, I'm a single guy. But also I just like really enjoy, because a lot of them do a lot of other work in terms of like singing and performances. So I followed that as well. And yeah, it was really sad, honestly. I really enjoyed Mayfair Supper Club. And I'm going to talk about it like it's closing, but just so you know, it is not closed. It is still remaining open, but for the time being, I think the way that I'm going to talk about it is sort of like it's gone. It's not. But I really, really enjoyed how they kind of splashed on this scene. I remember I was actually working at MGM Grand when it was brought to our property, and they showed us the they showed us the mock-ups of what it was going to look like on the inside and sort of the vision of the whole restaurant. And it was honestly, for a long time, one of the hardest reservations to make on the Las Vegas Strip, kind of like how Delilah's was. And it was so different. Like when you went in there and checked it out for the first time, you walked in and you were like, oh my God, like there's live music. This feels like old school Vegas. Like it just feels like a party on the inside. And I thought they were always sort of advancing what their entertainment offerings were by maybe changing up, the set list, changing up the dance routines. It was all really, really awesome. And a lot of them were super excited because they ended up having like this big giant billboard on the side of the freeway, and one of them took a picture in front of it, and they're like all over, and it's just it's really cool. But I feel really bad for the performers because honestly, it's really the main draw of going to Mayfair Supper Club is the entertainment part of it. So I think there's a lot to this story that hasn't been fully explained, just because I think that maybe the owners or people who are in charge of MGM Grand's like entertainment and restaurant division maybe had something with the production company that was working it, and who knows. So I think there's going to be more to this story coming out, I'm sure, but yeah, really sad for all the performers. And I did like look at a lot of comments that were around this particular topic that was the reason people went. That the food, honestly, at Mayfair Supper Club, to me, is quite mediocre and very, very expensive for what you are getting. Like, if you are comparing what you're getting at Delilah's to Mayfair Supper Club, which is really one of the only comps that you can make. They have a very similar, very similar style of how they want to, show off their restaurant. And when your prices reflect when you're eating food that doesn't reflect the price that it's at, that's somewhat a problem. It's, again, very much a performance when you go inside of there, and both of these places, the food isn't as good as the overall vibes, but I would say Delilah's at least does sort of fit the bill in terms of the cuisine that you are getting. So who knows what's going to happen at Mayfair Supper Club in terms of the entertainment. I believe, this is just my sort of reading on it, is a lot of the executives went to Delilah's, saw what they have, and I think that's maybe something that they want to do over at Mayfair, which maybe like on the weekends they'll have like a marquee performer perform, sort of like Delilah's has with like Robin Thicke and such. But I don't know if that's going to happen, guys. It's just one of those things that Delilah's has this thing about it that it is in Los Angeles and it's sort of like a famous hangout. And I don't think Mayfair Supper Club really has that. I think it's more of a production show, a whole production. I think they're going to build out like, a stage. I think they're going to have a band. It's going to be much more atmospheric. I think they're going to rotate in singers like Delilah's does. And I think they're going to try to compete with them that way. So that's just my sort of thoughts on it. I don't think it's going to be as much of a quote unquote production that they did have going on, because it's a lot of moving parts. So anyways, that's our dissertation of the Mayfair Supper Club news. Very sad to hear that they are changing the entertainment, but they will remain open, and their last performances, I believe, are going to be December 12th will be the last show in the current iteration. So let's move on to our full topic today, which our main topic is going to be about, we are going to be having another country western bar on the Las Vegas Strip that would add it, making it like the third or fourth one, which honestly, guys, I don't have a problem with. I think it speaks to me because I enjoy it, but we've talked about plenty of things that have been trendy that I'm not a fan of, like Mediterranean cuisine, the whole Greek sort of takeover, a lot of the, a dinner and a show kind of thing that's sort of happening, speaking of Mayfair Supper Club. And it's very easy, guys. Vegas is a very trendy place. And when I say trendy, I mean everybody follows the trend and everybody follows what everybody else is doing. And that's why you see when they opened up Old Red was open for a while, then they opened Jason Aldean's. And then after Jason Aldean's, they're now going to be opening a, oh my goodness, Luke Combs. There we go. Sorry, guys, that took so long. I know that's excruciating when you guys are listening. But a new Luke Combs bar, which is taking over the area in front of the hotel, which used to be the Margarita Bar. And yeah, I actually don't have a problem with it because I actually really enjoy country music, and I think it's just really fun. I think it's a very reliable business in terms of the demographic, as long as it's in the right place. That's just with anything else. But I do think that country music's back in sort of like the popular culture, and I feel like a lot of people do want to have this. Do I think all of them are going to survive? No, I definitely do not. It's very sad to me because I really enjoy Jason Aldean's, and I think it does good business. I do think it does good business, but I'm talking like over the long run. That I think Jason Aldean's has sort of a location problem where that it is just renting that space that's inside of where it's at. It's not very visible out to like the main part of the street. And I think that maybe rent can get them, and maybe after like a good period of time, you may not get like, the people walking into that one because they want to go to places like Old Red, like the Luke Combs bar. And the major difference is that those are major build-outs. That's a whole building that was built for Old Red. So you do have the backing of Caesars Entertainment to really make sure that works. And a lot of people know about Old Red when it was being built. Same thing with Luke Combs. Luke Combs is a very popular name. It's run on Las Vegas Boulevard. It's going to have, so much foot traffic. Not that Jason Aldean doesn't, but it's another build out that they want to make sure that those succeed. So I don't know. I hope that they all, can be successful, but Jason Aldean's does have that sort of feel that it may not. Also, Bottled Blonde, I would put this in the same era as Bottled Blonde. That place, I don't know how much longer Bottled Blonde will be open. They're really busy for lunch, but like at like night times, it's just so dead all the time. I got to go back again, but I've given them like 5 or 6 tries, and every single time it's a disappointment. So, it's really just one of those things. It's a trends thing, guys. You're going to find a lot of these things happening, and you're going to continue to see it happening as it goes. Just like the nightclubs you had when hip-hop was the main music that people were listening to. Those are the nightclubs that you got in town. And then we started getting more EDM. So EDM now sort of drives the culture. And I would still say that we're still there, but I don't think people go to nightclubs anymore for the DJs. I think people go to nightclubs sort of like as... like that's just where you go. Like I don't think I would enjoy going to a nightclub now because they don't play the type of music that I like, even EDM wise. So I think it's just more of an atmospheric thing that you want to be there for those things. But this happens all the time. You see it, in the history of Las Vegas that everybody stays on trend. Let's look at the 90s when we started building all these new hotels. They all had a theme. And everyone said, I have to have my Egyptian themed hotel. I have to have my New York City style hotel. And Aladdin, same thing. So we do go through all of these trends, and everything sort of like rotates in and out. You are going to see a lot more steakhouses being open. I don't know why, because they're kind of all the same. But I would say the next big thing that you are going to see coming to Las Vegas, because I always love talking. I always love sort of looking to see what's like the next major trend that we're going to have. And like for a long time, it was like sushi. Like sushi became like the cool thing to have in your hotel, which was very, very interesting. But yeah, the next trend, like in terms of hotels that I would see, I think... I'm looking it up because I'm pulling up the Aria because they have something I want to talk about. Yeah, one of the new big trends that I see is that we're going to have a lot more Indian cuisine on the Las Vegas Strip. I think Indian cuisine has become very popular around the world, and I think you've sort of seen it sort of in pockets on the Las Vegas Strip, but you haven't seen them put like a fine dining Indian restaurant on Las Vegas Boulevard. There used to be the Royal... the Royal Indian, I believe, which was at the Rio Hotel, which is obviously no longer there. But the Aria is making their first big push into this, and it's always one of those things where you just need one place to do it. You need one place to actually just break the mold, and then everybody else will follow because they want to have that. So it's unique. It's different that you don't have it on the Strip, and this place, it's called Gymkhana. We're going to go with it, Gymkhana, which is a Michelin star restaurant in New York. Fun fact, we do not have the Michelin guidebook in Las Vegas, so don't look for one for Las Vegas. But this place is going to be opening soon. It says December 3rd. Kind of a funny time to open. This is also a strong trick for all of you Las Vegas watchers, that whenever they open something new, whether it's a nightclub or a really anticipated restaurant, they will always open it, if they can, in December. Why in December? Because that's one, a slower time of the year in December, and it lets them work out all the kinks, like the first couple of weeks. They're figuring out sort of the system and all that good stuff, and then they have their big celebration on New Year's Eve. That is the playbook for Las Vegas openings for anything. Nightclubs, restaurants, bars, hotels even. Typically, you will always see a hotel or a restaurant open in December or November, and then their big giant thing is usually New Year's Eve, because that's where you get to buy the fireworks for free, basically. But yeah, you look at a lot of hotels, like Circa opened in December, MGM Grand opened in December in 1993. Fontainebleau opened in, I believe, November of that year, and then they had their big New Year's Eve thing, or I think it was in December. It just gives them time to sort of what we call have a soft opening. And if you're a fan of Ocean's 13, which not a lot of Ocean's 13 fans in the world, but usually that's why they have a soft opening and then the grand opening. But I do think Indian cuisine is going to make a huge splash onto the scene. Again, more cuisine that is not my favorite, but I don't think you can deny that Indian cuisine is loved by English people. I think there are certain parts of America that enjoys Indian cuisine. I think there's a lot of people, especially in major metropolitan areas, who've been exposed to Indian cuisine are going to really love having this fine dining option on the Strip. And there's plenty of other places that do it. But yeah, I think Indian cuisine is the next big thing. I would say by December 2026, we will have at least 4 Indian restaurants, major Indian restaurants on the Las Vegas Strip. One of them being at Aria, obviously, because that's about to open. I would definitely see them opening one at the Resorts World. I can see them opening one at Fontainebleau. And not to be outdone, I can definitely see them opening one over at the Wynn Hotel and Casino. Although they're running out of space, they're opening a new Italian steakhouse there. They have Zero Bond coming soon, so they're running out of space over at the Wynn. But I'm sure they'll find some space to make sure that they're really catering to all clientele. And yeah, I used to do private tours for a lot of Indian parties, and you'd have to go off the Strip to find any restaurants because they didn't really have that many on the Strip. So really, kind of one of those funny things. What else do I have for you guys today? So I do have something cooking up. I'm thinking about something quick, for you guys to be able to enjoy, whether you're, being able to listen or, want to look at it on your own. But I am working on something that I hopefully can share with you guys rather soon. I did put out a video most recently about the most popular parties or popular what's what I'm looking for, events that happen, and I did get a wonderful response from somebody that they said me and my husband are coming to Vegas with 3 other couples for New Year's. Would love some tips on navigating security and rules, celebration things, and large groups of 8 could enjoy together. So we won't do the whole episode today, and that was from Debbie. So thank you so much for sending that comment in, Debbie. It's actually quite fun. You do need to plan a little bit. It is, but it's very doable. So typically we will open up reservations for New Year's Eve, usually usually like around Thanksgiving. They start planning a lot, like when Thanksgiving happens, which is the third week of February, of November, and then you could start making reservations. But if you are going to do dinner, they typically, and 8 people is actually perfect because 8 is usually the cutoff for making regular reservations. They will have an early and a late seating for dinner. So they'll usually have like a 5 or 6, and then like an 8 or 9 o'clock seating for dinners. So just keep that in mind. Honestly, one of the best things to do is just walk out onto Las Vegas Boulevard, because they shut it down, and watch the fireworks. One of the best places to do it from is the Harmon Corner, because from there you can see like 3 different fireworks shows, or over like next to New York, right in front, because they have the MGM Grand and the Aria fireworks going off. And of course, you can always find the elevated positions over at Mandalay Bay, Stratosphere, and now Resorts World, where you can watch from up top. So many options now that weren't available a long time ago. So we won't do a whole New Year's Eve podcast, I promise. But I thought those are some things just off the top of my head that would be quite helpful. But hopefully Debbie has a good time when she comes. That'll be very interesting. I did have somebody also message me, and I do want to make sure that I, check it out. So they sent it to me and asked, they did ask me about views, which we will do that in its own separate episode. So make sure you stay tuned for that. And I'll make sure to share some of my favorite views of the Las Vegas Strip, because there are many places that honestly have wonderful views, and I think they're great. I'll probably be doing an F1 podcast episode coming up soon. Yes, the city is full of F1 things. The barriers are up, and yes, is just a wonderful time trying to get around Las Vegas Boulevard. So, I think that's good. For a Friday, I think you guys got a little update on what's going on, some of the trendy stuff that's going to happen in town. Indian restaurants are going to be on the rise. But yeah, I think we got you guys a good little jump start for the weekend. So thank you so much, everybody, for listening to the podcast. Make sure to like and subscribe on YouTube. And, of course, follow us on Spotify or Apple. If you want to rate us or leave a little review, that really does help, and I really enjoy. I read every single one, so really, really appreciate it. And yeah, if you have any more questions, feel free to put them out there on any of my pages. So Conscious Confidential _LV, or my personal one, Brian _Ortega 26. So thanks so much for listening, everybody. Hopefully I'll see you out in town. If you see me out there, come up and say hello. But remember, keep it confidential.